1 year now since the deadliest attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust. In remembrance, today, people across the globe holding prayers, vigils, and ceremonies.
National correspondent Kayla Gaskins actually just visiting Israel as part of an organized delegation by a nonprofit Middle East Press Association. And now she shares some stories of survival.
More than 1,200 people woke up on October 7th, 2023, not knowing it would be their last sunrise. A year later, the world pausing to remember those lost, those still held hostage by Hamas, and those who lived, like Daniel Sharabi, who was at the Nova Music Festival. This video taken moments before the attack. Then the music stopped and the air filled with gunfire.
This is the second that I understand that something wrong is going to happen.
Daniel and his brother pieced together what was happening and sprung into action. A former IDF medic, Daniel started performing triage on the injured.
What do you remember
Nothing.
thinking as this is happening?
When it's happening, you only act. You're not thinking. Your instinct walking very fast.
They spotted an IDF tank with no living soldiers inside, found weapons, and began firing back at Hamas. Daniel called his former IDF officer, who then stayed on the phone with him for hours, giving as much help and guidance as possible. Daniel kept commanding those around him while still giving medical care.
I'm only one person, and I cannot do everything, so I give the orders how to do, what to do to everyone around me who can help, and together we did a good job.
They saved around 100 people, but 20 of his friends died. Not far away at Kibbutz Nir Oz, Arit Lahav survived by physically holding the shelter door closed.
At first, when we heard the terrorists breaking our house, beating and banging, my daughter grabbed my hand and softly and said how much she loves me. And we just said goodbye words to each other, thinking that these are our last minutes.
117 of this kibbutz's 400 residents were either killed or kidnapped on October 7th. For those who lived, it's now time to figure out, step by step, how to rebuild.
Part of the moving on process is figuring out what to do with buildings like this. Do you leave them up as a reminder of what happened here, or do you knock them down and start over? The residents of this community will take a vote in the coming weeks and months to decide. In Nir Oz, Israel, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Now let's take a look at all that's happened since the October 7th attack. On that day, Hamas killed 1,200 people and kidnapped another 250. Israel declared war the next day and began bombing the Gaza Strip October 13th. The campaign has killed more than 40,000 Palestinians, according to Oxfam, with nearly the entire population of 2 million now displaced. There was a week-long pause for a hostage swap deal at the end of November. On April 13th, Iran launched a direct attack on Israel, and Israel responds just days later. In July, Prime Minister Netanyahu visits the U.S. and told Congress he will achieve total victory against Hamas. In September, handheld pagers used by Hezbollah members in Lebanon explode, killing 12 and injuring 3,000. Israel then began airstrikes on Beirut, killing Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah on September 27th. By October, Israel is putting boots on the ground in Lebanon, and Iran launches nearly 200 missiles at Israel.
And in this last year, our government sending a record amount of military aid to Israel. Brown University's Cost of War project finds at least $17.9 billion worth, plus another $4.86 billion for U.S. military operations in the region.